Hi, I'm starting this video on my phone with, oh look, a Hoover in the background, and we got some packaging on the bed, you know, atmospheric and all that. The reason that I'm not filming right now on the main camera, which is over there, is because of this. Lola is visiting, and today I think she's just given up on life mostly. Lola, hello. Do you think maybe we could move a little bit? Come on, let's get up. Oh, stretches. Stretches. That's very close. Bless you. That's better. I'm now set up with the actual camera. I have to sit on the floor today because Lola gets very cross if everyone isn't, you know, down on her level. If I sit on a chair, she thinks it's very insulting, isn't it? Very, very insulting. But to her, I am a chair. So today, I thought I would sit down and film a video that I really love watching, but I don't think I've ever filmed before myself. I'm aware, covered in dog hair right now, which is, you know, a privilege. So it is getting very close to autumn as I'm filming this. Autumn technically begins next week, but the weather has already turned a little bit here. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I am in a long sleeve top today and in full length dungarees. So warmer weather, colder weather is coming. Warmer weather is leaving, and I'm quite grateful for that. So I thought I would do the end of the year book tag where we look at, or rather I look at, what books I would like to get to through the rest of the year. If there are some books that have been on my radar for a while and I haven't got to and I would very much like to. There are several different questions, including some about releases that are still coming. So let's answer those today if Lola will let me, and I will pull some books off my shelves and talk to you about them, and anything that I mention I will link in the description box down below. Is that okay with you? She's thinking about it. I mean, is she a dog or is she a rabbit? It's a question I ask myself most days. Before we get on to questions, I just wanted to quickly say that my new book, The Sister Who Ate Her Brothers, is coming out in 3 weeks' time. 3 weeks' time? So soon. So this is it in all its foiling and ribbon glory. If you didn't know, because it's something that's been talked about a lot in the publishing world right now, but I feel that's kind of a bubble and it doesn't always reach outside of that to readers, and I think that readers would like to know. There is a paper shortage at the moment. This is the new thing on the long list of things that has been affecting the publishing world recently. And because of that shortage, some book releases have been pushed back. So if you have pre-ordered this and you're in North America or even elsewhere perhaps, you may have received an email saying that the book is now being published in November, so a few weeks later, and I'm sorry about that. There's nothing I can do about it. If you've pre-ordered the book, a signed copy from me and you're elsewhere in the world, it will still get sent out in October, and if you're in the UK, it's still being published in October. Same for Australia and New Zealand, I think, hopefully for Europe too. This is just the times that we live in, but because of this delay and other delays and the whole host of things that has been happening recently, pre-orders are more important than ever before. So if you haven't pre-ordered the book and you think you would like to read it, it would mean so much if you could pre-order. I'll link my announcement video down below where I talk about the book, where you can find out more about it. And I'll also leave a link in the description box, which has other links for where you can pre-order internationally, or you can reserve it at your local library. As a thank you, if you do pre-order it, send a screenshot of that confirmation of your pre-order to TheSisterWhoAteHerBrothers@gmail.com, and I will send you an audio file of one of the stories that I have recorded with sound effects that I haven't shared anywhere else as a thank you. So I think that's all the housekeeping. But yeah, 3 weeks until this is out in the world, and I'm very excited to share it with you. And for those of you who have to wait a couple of weeks extra on top of that, I hope that it is worth the wait. Okay, right, let's dive into these questions and talk about books that are not my own. All right, so the first one feels like it's judging me. The first question is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? So shall I go and grab the pile of books that just sits on my bedside table? Let's go get it. The pile is not that huge actually. So, all right, what have we got here? So we have got some books left over from Disability Readathon, which was in April. I love doing Disability Readathon. It is very intense to read lots of books on one subject, particularly if you are someone who is disabled and are reading lots of books about disability. So there are a few that I have kept on my bedside table to dip in and out of. One of them is Growing Up Disabled in Australia, which is an essay collection and I was absolutely loving. The other is Chroma by Derek Jarman, and this is about him talking about colour as he's gradually losing his eyesight. Then this is a collection of poetry called The Anthology of Illness, which is published by Emma Press, which is an indie press that I really, really like. And then this is Schizophrene by Bhanu Kapil. And this one I found really, it's just very intense. I need to be very much in the right frame of mind to pick this one up. I just want to make sure that my brain is turned on as much as possible because I want to get as much out of it as I can. And you can't really read this one when you're in any way tired or stressed or preoccupied. And if I haven't been tired and stressed and preoccupied this whole year, then I don't really know what I have been. And I'm assuming that most of us feel the same. The other ones are two poetry collections. We've got Bloom by Sarah Westcott. I loved her debut collection, Slant Light, and was enjoying this one too. And then The Octopus Museum by Brenda, Shaughnessy, which I think I only have 3 poems left to read, so there's really no excuse not to finish that. Then we've got Max Porter's new book, which again was one I really wanted to give all of my attention to. It's super short, it really won't take me long to read it, but I just wanted to make sure I was in the right frame of mind. And then this is Composite Creatures by Caroline Hardaker, which is a dystopian book that I was very much enjoying. And this one hasn't been sitting on that bedside table for very long at all. So this one I want to finish too. So I think I might do a reading vlog at some point where my mission is to, you know, clear my bedside table of currently reading books. So I'll do that in the next month or so before any more books get added to that pile. Next one was, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I think the problem is I probably have too many that I could potentially read because autumn is my favourite season, like I would say most book lovers, because we like the cozy times, and therefore I have lots of books that are autumnal in, you know, atmosphere, in feel, in theme that I could reach for. But which specific one I would reach for to transition into autumn is up for debate. Let me go glance at my shelves. I feel like I need to get up and actually confront them, you know, face to face. Okay, that actually wasn't very hard. I remembered a specific book and I have picked it off my shelves. What I am going to do to transition into autumn, I recently made a video talking about all the Nikki French books, and I have some other crime books on my shelves. I would like to do a reading vlog trying to find another favourite crime writer, which I think I did last summer too, and I didn't end up actually discovering a crime writer in that video that I loved. I want to try that again. So I feel like that's transitioning into autumn. For some reason I associate crime with autumn, even though I read it all year round. I'm trying to manifest autumn all the time, I think. Anyway, this is a book that was gifted to me by Mercedes, and if this doesn't scream autumn, I don't know what does. It's called October by Katya, Balen, and it's illustrated by Angela Harding. This is a middle grade book. Let us read the blurb, which also looks very autumnal. October and her dad live in the woods. They sleep in the house Dad built for them, and they know the trees and the rocks and the lake and the stars like best friends. They live in the woods, and they are wild. That's just the way it is, until the year October turns 11. That's the year October rescues a baby owl. It's the year Dad falls out of the biggest tree and goes to hospital. The year the woman who calls herself October's mother comes back. The year that everything changes. It was a very loud car. Anyway, this one definitely screams autumn. So that is the one that I will pick up to transition into autumn. Next question is there a new release you're still waiting for? 3. So I have 2 proof copies of books that are coming out soon that are 2 of my most anticipated releases. There's the new Ruth Ozeki book, which is the Book of Form and Being. Did I just make that title up? It's all the way over there. I'm going to put the camera on the screen here. Very excited about that one. It's a beast of a book. And then there is The Fell by Sarah Moss, which is coming out in November. Obviously very excited about that because I adore Sarah's work. It's quite late for a big release to be coming out November. Normally they come out September, October. So I'm glad that there's something for us to look forward to. So I'll be reading that just before it comes out. And then also there is another book coming out in November by Ariel, Henley. And hers was my favourite essay in disability visibility, and this is her memoir, which is coming out in November. So very excited to read that. Next question. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Now, obviously, I want to read more than 3 books by the end of the year, by which I mean there are more than 3 books on the list of things I would really like to get to before the end of the year. But perhaps the way I should approach this is by looking at my most anticipated books from this time last year and see which ones I haven't got to yet. Shall we call myself out? Let's do that. Okay, so this is the video where I talk about my most anticipated books for autumn winter last year. And there are, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 books in that list. That was quite an ambitious list. Well, books that I was excited about. And let's get off the shelves the ones that I haven't read yet from that list, and I'll also link that video in the description box down below if you would like to go and see all the books in their entirety. This body cannot kneel on the floor anymore. We have moved to sitting and Lola is just going to have to cope with it. Okay, so I've pulled these books off the shelves and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books from that list last year that I haven't got to yet. I did excuse 2 or 3 titles from this pile, which I had mentioned at the end of last year because their publication date was moved and they ended up coming out late summer, so they haven't been on my shelves for very long at all. So these are 6 books from that list of most anticipated books from this time last year, so I would like to get to these before the end of this year. The first one is Piranesi, and this is by Susanna Clarke. It just won the Women's Prize, so I will happily be getting to this one really soon. Do I need to talk about this? Not really. I think everyone has been talking about it. Obviously, I'll speak about it once I actually read it, but that's probably top of the list. Then we've got a couple of non-fiction books. This is by Amy Nizuku-Matatil. This is called World of Wonders in Praise of Fireflies, Whale Sharks, and Other Astonishments. And I love me a good nature memoir. And then this is the new Barbara Demick, and I loved her book, Nothing to Envy, which is about North Korea. This one is called Eat the Buddha, The Story of Modern Tibet Through the People of One Town. I've got a couple of short story collections here, 3 actually. So we've got The Woman of the Wolf and Other Stories, which is translated from the French. This is by Renée Vivian. And this came out, or rather was written, in the early 1900s, and this is queer, dark fairy tales, so obviously right up my street. This is I Hold a Wolf by the Ears by Laura Vanderberg. I haven't read anything by her before, I don't think. So this is sideways ghost stories that linger in the mouth and the mind, and given that we're going into autumn, that sounds like just the right time to pick it up anyway. And then this is Likes by Sarah Shunlian Bynum, who's the author of Madeline is Sleeping, and this is a collection of stories about friendship, parenthood, celebrity and obsession, race and class, and the passage of time, so lots of different things. And then this is Kaiming Chang's Beastery, which is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I mean, all of these are, but this was really, really high up, and this is a family saga weaving discussions of queerness and disfigurement and folklore. So again, right up my street. So these are the 6 books that I would like to get to, or is it 7 actually? 7 books that I would definitely like to get to before the end of the year, and maybe that can be a separate reading vlog too. The next question is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favourite book of the year? I'm always, very excited and eager to be shocked and surprised. But I suppose if there's a particular book that I think could shock me into becoming my favourite of the year, that's something I wouldn't be anticipating. So a general yes, in that there are lots of books on my shelves that I'm sure if I read them could potentially become my favourite of the year. But it wouldn't shock me if I already thought they could potentially be a favourite, right? But I suppose that's being pedantic. Books that I have high hopes for, though, are Piranesi. I think that could be a favourite. The Fell by Sarah Moss. But then also I've got a really good feeling about Mrs. March, which I hauled recently and is about A woman who doesn't read the books that her husband writes, he's an author, and then one day in a supermarket, a woman who has read his most recent book says, "How did you feel about his representation of you?" And she discovers that the main character in his new book is based on her, but it's not a very nice presentation of her. And then she's really suspicious about everyone and what they're saying about her in the town. I just think that sounds really exciting, potential to be a favourite. We'll see. That's definitely on my list of books to read before the end of this year as well. But yeah, I mean, all the books on my TBR have the potential to be favourites, don't they? So fingers crossed that there will still be many more added to my best books of the year list before the year is out. Then the final question is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? No, really. I think is the answer. I haven't really thought about reading plans in a very specific way. I would definitely like to get to more poetry and short stories next year. I feel like I didn't really do that this year. Still time to rectify that because we've still got 3 months left. But that's my general feeling, is that I would like to maybe try and reintroduce some goals of reading a short story a day, which I had planned to do in 2020. And then as the year unfolded, all goals just kind of went out of the window. But I think in general, it's going to be more continuing along the lines of what I've already been doing. I've been having a great reading year so far this year. I've read so many books that I love, and a lot of that is down to mood reading as well. So more of that, please, and not being too strict on myself, but at the same time making sure that I am getting through things in a timely manner. So yeah, that's the end of this tag. I would love to know the answers to these questions if you would like to share them in the comments section down below. Should we see if Lola would like to say farewell? Oh, thank you. That's lovely. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you haven't pre-ordered my new book, but you would like to, that would be amazing. I know, Lola. Would you like to? Details are in the description box down below. I hope you're all having a good week. I will love and leave you, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.